Hi there! Thank you so much for joining me today. This is Julie DiMatteo from thepaperpixie.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the US, and in this video tutorial I have this really cool box to show you. I don't really know what to call this box, but it looks a little bit like a geode thanks to my customer Norleen. So I'm kind of referring to this as a cubic geode box, or I don't know, you could come up with so many different names, but I do want to give credit to where I got this idea from. So thank you so much, Sally Shaw from Sally Stampers. I saw your video for this project and totally fell in love with it and had to give it a try. I also want to give a shout out to fellow German demonstrator Petra Case, or Kass. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but it was her original idea. She did a swap with Sally, and this project is so cool. It's a little tricky to put together, but I'm going to hopefully break it down for you and make it a little bit easier. I hope you'll give it a try. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to do the Blackberry Bliss version. I find that my Blackberry Bliss cardstock is a little bit of a stiffer cardstock, so it really helps in my favor for this box. And I've got a piece that measures 8.5 inches by 6 inches. You can get one of these out of a sheet of 8.5 by 11. And along the 8.5 inch side, I'm going to score this at 2, 4, 6, and 8. Then I'm going to rotate it clockwise and score it at 2, 4, and 6. Hence the cubic reference, because all of these squares, with the exception of the little half-inch sections, are 2 by 2. Next, I'm going to fold and burnish on all the score lines. Now that that's done, I've got a little template here for you. This template will be on my detailed blog post. We're going to focus on the next series of score lines, and those are those diagonal score lines you see here on the template. The easiest way I found to create these was to use our layering squares framelits, and I used the second smallest and the fifth smallest layering squares. These are perfect sizes. If you don't have the layering squares, you can do what Sally did, where she made tick marks at 1 inch and 1.5 inch on each of these 4 lines. Now with your template in landscape, you have the 1/2 inch at the top. These are the 4 squares here that we're focusing on to do our diagonal score lines. Move this out of the way slightly. I'm first going to do the score lines of the smaller square, and I am literally just lining up each of the corners right along the score line there. Actually, for me, it's easier if I have the cutting side up like this. Now I'm just going to hold it in place. You could use some washi tape to keep it in place, but I've got the stylus end to my Take Your Pick tool. You could also use the stylus from the Simply Scored, and I'm just going to score right along that square. We're going to go all the way around. And you'll see we've got that square there. Now I have found with making a number of these that it's easier if I then do the next set of score lines from the back side. Again, we're going to go around the same 4 squares. I'm going to grab the larger of the 2 squares we've chosen, and same thing, line those up, all those corners up on the score lines, and then I'm going to score like so. And the reason why I did that on the opposite side of the cardstock is because we're going to have these folds fold in different directions. Next, I'm going to focus on this little 1/2 inch section. So I have this in portrait. We have our 1/2 inch section along the bottom, and I'm only keeping this 2 inch section here. So what I'm going to do is come in and notch on either side of those score lines. And then I'm going to come up and remove these corner rectangular sections, so that all we're left with is this section here. Okay, so it looks like that. Now, since we have our paper turned this way, we've got the 1/2 inch section at the bottom. It's in landscape. I'm now going to cut up each of the vertical score lines, stopping at the second horizontal score line. Then I'm going to rotate it 180 degrees. We're going to do the same thing, cutting up each of these vertical score lines, but stopping at the first horizontal score line. All right, so we've basically released all of those tabs. Now focusing on the top section here, let me turn this, the one with the 1/2 inch section. We're going to remove this entire square and rectangle. And then for the rest of the cutting, I like to use my paper trimmer. Okay, so referencing the template here on the top section, we want to keep this one that's in the middle. So I'm going to fold that one out of the way. And then I'm going to line up the left edge at the 5-inch mark. What that's going to do is cut these 2 squares right in half. So they're just little 1-inch sections like that. Then I'm going to rotate it 180 degrees. Let me turn it this way so you can see. We want to keep this square at the bottom, so I'm going to fold that one out of the way. I'm also going to fold this tab. That's just going to give me a nice flat edge at the top. And I'm going to line up the edge of this at the 1/2-inch mark, and that's the 2nd vertical score line from the cutting groove. So see that right here? And then I'm just going to cut all of these, and that's going to leave them at a little 1/2-inch section like that. Let's clean things up a little bit. So on these 2-inch tabs, I'm going to fold this one out of the way. Then I can just come in and notch those slightly. Then using the detailed trio punch, we're going to round the corners of this tab, and I like to fold things out of the way. All right, so the top part is done. And then I'm going to come in on these remaining 3 tabs. And these intersections here, I actually want to cut them at a 45-degree angle. That's going to help when we close the lid of our box. And let me see if I can show you. It opens from the bottom. But you don't want, I think you can see the corners in there, trying not to have them overlap too much. All right, so on this edge here, we can notch it just slightly. But I'm going to come in and do that full 45-degree angle, and I'm totally just eyeballing it here. Same thing on this corner. And then these 2 as well. And then this one can just be a normal notch. All right, so we've got all the cutting is done. Now the key to get this box to go together smoothly is to reinforce these score lines and just kind of gently move them into place. I'm actually going to fold it opposite what you would think. And we're just going to gently coerce the cardstock along those score lines. Okay, so the bigger square is going to be a mountain fold. And then the smaller squares are going to be valley folds. Now these aren't going to be the easiest to fold on, but just take your time with the paper. We want to make sure that we can get this to fold into place. We're going to dry fit it before we put the box together. It'll save you a lot of frustration when we come to glue. So I also just try to use my thumb and forefinger and manipulate the paper. The key is for this inside square, this corner needs to pop in and this corner needs to pop out. So the corners of the larger square need to come out. The corners of the smaller squares need to go in. Okay, so I'm just going to take my time and keep working at this. I think you can see how that's starting to go together. Trying to catch the light there. And we'll probably reinforce this again one more time before we put it together. All right, so before we glue the box together, let's do some Designer Series paper gluing. I have 6 pieces of this gorgeous Perennial Essence Designer Series paper. 3 of them we're going to leave as squares. All 6 of these measure 1 3/4 by 1 3/4. So I'm going to put 3 of them to the side. And then these 3 we're actually going to trim at a diagonal. I'm going to show you a little trick. Thank you, Sally, for your idea with this. One little tip for you is I recommend that you choose a non-directional paper because that will ensure you can cut all 3, not worry about which direction the pattern is going in. It makes this project much, much easier. If you do have a directional pattern, you're going to want to pay attention to the direction you want, and I would recommend that you cut the diagonal pieces separately because they're all going to be facing in different directions. I'm going to grab a ruler and I'm going to make a little tick mark at 1/4 of an inch on this side and then on this side. So you kind of want them to be catty corner to each other, and then I'm just going to take the ruler and line up those 2 dots and just draw a line, okay, like that. That's going to be our cutting guide. So I'll line up all 3 pieces, and with my paper snips, I'm going to cut right along that line. Now if you have longer scissors, those might help you here. I'm trying to make sure that the paper doesn't shift. And then we're going to have 3 pieces that are cut just the right shape for our diagonal sections. So let's go ahead and glue these down. Using multi-purpose liquid glue, I'm going to adhere the squares first. And then we're going to glue the 3 angled pieces. Just love how cool that looks even before we put it together. Now, another thing I'm going to do is this section that has no tabs or anything, we're just going to put a little finger notch. This is the 1/2 inch circle punch. Like so. Now, what we can try to do is dry fit this a little bit again before we start to glue it together. Okay, now let's start to glue it together. I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to fold on the second score line from the left. We got this little 1/2 inch tab using liquid glue. Then I'm going to fold on the first tab from the right. Those should line up. Take your time at this part to make sure that this adheres. All right, now we can continue to dry fit it again. I'm going to fold those tabs in, tuck this in. Now you'll see without sort of dry fitting it, this looks just like any normal box, okay? But what we want to do is to coerce this into place. All right, so that took a little bit of finagling, but do you see how that's popping into place? Again, the key is the larger corners pop out, the smaller corners go in. And as long as you can get this mostly there, it should go together. Now you just want to make sure, again, before we glue, that we get that dry fit and into place. And the end result is going to be totally worth it. So I'm just reinforcing things using my fingernails, kind of tucking in corners there. The trickiest part is going to be this intersection right here at the top. That cardstock's going to want to fight you for that. So I am just trying to fold as best I can before I glue this together. And here's how I found easiest to glue. I'm going to put glue on this section and the next section over, and liquid glue for me works really well because it gives me a chance to slide things into place. So I'm actually going to open the box base and using my fingers on the inside of the box, get this lined up right where we want it to go. Now I'm making sure that that seam right there is really sharp and in the right spot. And I'm pressing from the inside and the outside. Okay. Then next, I'm going to take liquid glue and apply it on the rest of the tabs on the inside. You could certainly use tear and tape here if you prefer. I personally like to work with the liquid glue because it gives me a little bit of time to slide things right into place. All right, now I'm going to close the bottom of the box. It's going to give me a little bit of leverage for this last part because I want to make sure that all 3 corners line up right where I want them to go. I'm going to get it to adhere a little bit while the box is closed, and then I'll come in and push from the inside. That's looking pretty good there. All right, let's open it up. And I can use the surface and press from the inside. You can certainly use your bone folder if you want to. Make sure nothing slid out of place. That's looking really good. I love what this box looks like. Every once in a while you see a box that you say, oh, I have to try that, and this was it. So thank you to Petra and Sally. But look at that. Ooh, so cool. Very sturdy box too. So let's go ahead and do a little bit of decorating. I'm adding an easy sentiment from Itty Bitty Greetings. I thought we could do the sentiment, I'm here for you, perfect during this time. I'm gonna stamp that in Mossy Meadow onto Whisper White. Then using the classic label punch, I'm gonna come in and moving the sentiment a little bit to the right. Then I'm going to feed this back into the punch. And we're going to punch out just like a little diamond shape at the end. That's going to give us a banner end, like so. Then I'm going to use the medium daisy punch. I love this punch. It makes the most adorable daisies when you pair two of them together. Again, that's just Whisper White. I'm going to grab my bone folder and gently curl the petals. You do want to be careful because the petals are a little bit fragile at the skinniest part. So I kind of put my thumb and forefinger there to prevent any petals from ripping. Then I'm just going to use a little bit of liquid glue and layer one on top of the other, but stagger the petals. And it really looks like a beautiful paper daisy. The liquid glue helps me kind of spin things into place. And then I'm going to grab one of the Perennial Essence floral centers. They already have adhesive and a dimensional on the back. I'm going to pop that right in the center of our beautiful little daisy there. Put a little bit of liquid glue on the bottom. Place that on the top of our beautiful box. Then I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the back side of the sentiment. It is behind the left side, and I'm just going to tuck that right underneath the daisy. And voila, there is our cubic geode box or fancy fold box. I love how this looks paired with all the beautiful colors in the Retiring Perennial Essence suite. Love that designer series paper, and I love how these boxes turned out. So again, thank you to Petra and Sally. I appreciate your inspiration. I just had to give it a try, and I hope you do too. Worth the work to put it together. So thank you so much for joining me. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and hit that bell icon so you don't miss my next video. If you're interested in purchasing any of the Stampin' Up! Products I used today, they'll be linked in the description. And I'll also include a link to my detailed blog post with all project measurements, details, and a picture of the template. I'd love to have you come visit me at thepaperpixie.com, where I post projects every weekday to inspire you. And if you don't want to miss a thing, you can subscribe to my daily blog updates and you'll receive an email each time I publish a new post. You can shop with me anytime at thepaperpixie.com/shop. And if you're interested in a discount on your Stampin' Up! Purchases, the starter kit is the ultimate bundle, and it's a great way to get your wish list for less. You can purchase the starter kit at thepaperpixie.com/join, and I'd love to welcome you to my team of Paper Pixies. If you don't already have a demonstrator and you'd like a complimentary copy of one of our catalogs, you can order catalogs through me at thepaperpixie.com/catalogs. And if you give this project a try, I would love to see what you made, so feel free to share it on social media with the hashtag #PaperPixie, and I'll be sure to check it out. Thanks again for watching. I hope you have a wonderful and blessed day. Take care. Bye.